I'm Cyclon, and this is definitiveguide.com, my website. Now, this website has a lot of information on it, but today we're focusing on the strategy tab. Yesterday on stream, I went over all the currently known strategies that I'm aware of that are going to be working in 327 Keepers of the Flame League and ranked them. So we looked at all the 16.5 and T17 strats, put them in their own tier because those are usually the endgame go-to strats. We looked at all the S tier strats, all the A tier strats, all the B tier strats, and then mentioning the C tier strats, which I am not recommending because usually if you can do a C tier, you can also do a B or A tier strat, and you should just do those. Unless, of course, you really want to farm that specific thing, but then you do it because you enjoy it more than how profitable it is. Now, I also added this section on the left here, which is something I think is gonna be important for the first day or two for most people, maybe the first 3 or 4 days for some other people. But then I will move it back to the right of the screen so that the strat overview is more visible. Until then, you will find it here on the left. And basically, this video is going to be containing 3 things. First, I'm going to talk about this thing here on the left. Then I'm going to talk about my personal league start plan. And finally, I will talk about the top 3 strategies that you can do at league start. It got to catapult you into a good currency state and to be able to farm juiced endgame strategies and have a really powerful build. Now, first of all, what is these things on the left? What are all these trees, all these words? Basically, this is your early progression recommendation. The Unwavering Rush tree, for example, click on that, which grabs the middle section, goes all the way to the top, grabs Unwavering Visions, and gets you 20 Atlas skill points. So you can fill out, grab the nodes here, 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 and from there you can progress into your red maps easily. Then, of course, I have this tree with the red maps in mind, just the Kirik missions and the core tree. Then either pushing into Exile Altars or into Maven, which means Destructive Play. Destructive Play is more for bossing, and Exile Altars more for mapping strategies or mapping builds. But I also have an alternative here that goes into the early things without Unwavering Vision, which I recommend you to do when you're reaching Atlas at about 7 hours to more into the league. This could be because you just take a little bit longer in the campaign, or this could be because you went asleep and you started later, or you started with a delay, or you started but you felt sleepy and you went to bed, or whatever reasons. If you reach maps 7 hours or later into the league, it is recommended to not have Unwavering Visions for the simple reason of all the scalps you get are gonna be in demand by somebody who has already finished the Atlas, which means you can sell those for additional chaos, which you can use to upgrade your build and to buy maps if needed. So we don't need Unwavering Vision. So we have here the early progression trees with respecs, without respecs, as I'm gonna be recommending them. And then if you really get into a bottleneck and you need to pause your progression, I also have planned that in. We can go for essences, with the essence farm. Only needs a couple points, really profitable in yellow maps, especially early on, and also it does not need scarabs. If we have scarabs, we can use them. If we don't have scarabs, we don't use them. Simple as that. We can also just do breach this time around, utilizing the Genesis tree. We can specifically do this really easily on the second Atlas when we are just catching up with completion. So we combine it with running completion, then we can continue to push. Or one thing that we can now do very easily is we just leave our maps for a moment. We either run some blighted maps, or, which is now possible, we just run heist. We don't need to level heist members anymore. So whenever we are running into a bottleneck and we really need character upgrades, well, just buy a couple of blueprints, run the blueprints, get out a couple of replica uniques, heist bases, maybe some random divines or currency orbs, maybe a good heist trinket, sell those, liquidate those, and get your character upgraded, get your maps, and then continue with the push. I think it's gonna be a really neat thing to have access to if needed, but if not, of course, we can always just continue to push. I also added my own Atlas progression here. I don't recommend following directly in my footsteps, because what I'm gonna be doing at launch is testing Breach as much as possible. I want to test Breach as fast as possible, as much as possible on the first day. I want to figure out how good is the tree, how good is the item crafting on it, what is the currency we can get from it, how good are the Foulborn uniques. Just try to tinker around as much as possible with the new Genesis tree, figure out how good Breach is. Do we want to juice it with pack size? Is it worth juicing? Is it worth running on the side? Maybe we want to skip it altogether and just get into T17 ASAP. I want to figure out as much as possible on Breach on the first couple of days, so I can give you the recommendations and rundown on how good Breach is or isn't. Now, let's talk about the actual big thing of this video, my top 3 strat recommendations for you to do over the first couple of days, until the meta has settled in and we can see what strats are good and what aren't. So the first thing I am recommending is bossing. Now, bossing includes the following. It includes carries, it includes T17s, boss rushers, and it includes Uber bossing. So we want to do carries over Path of Exchange or the Forbidden Trove. You say, hey, I'm doing Mavens. You can come in and you can get your Maven Voidstone. Hey, I'm doing Uber Elders. I'm doing Uber Elders. You can come in and collect an Uber Elder Voidstone, map favorite slots. I'm doing Cyrus for favorite slots. I'm doing Cortex. I'm doing Shaper for favorite slots, whatever. Or you can say, hey, I'm carrying your map on your Atlas. And if you want an invitation cleared, I can come in and clear your invitation, so you get your passive points. All these carries are combined in this term boss carrying. So you can do that. You post your carry service on the Forbidden Trove Discord or the Path of Exchange Discord, and people will message you, hey, I need this killed. You kill it, you get paid, and you continue. Then, of course, there's also T17 boss rushing, which means that we want to enter at T17, roll it as easy as possible, go to the boss, kill the boss, get the Uber fragments, and then either sell the Uber fragments for a profit, or run the Uber fragments ourselves and get those juicy Uber uniques, which then hopefully sell for a lot, especially if you're one of the first people to get them dropped and be able to sell them. Or Awakened gems, or the Uber currency for like the Exalted Orbs and whatnot. You can also do normal bosses, of course, but those are usually better if carried. The second thing we are talking about is Breach, Legion, or Altar farming into boxes. Now, one of the most powerful strategies that we're gonna be having access to is early juiced endgame, is strong box farming with like Containment Scarab. In a T17, you're gonna get so many boxes, and while the juicing and the map affecting of these maps aren't as good anymore as previous leagues, the boxes themselves still drop a lot of things, and we have the nodes to duplicate the loot from the boxes. We're going to get a lot of random divine orbs. You're going to get a lot of valuable div cards. Maybe it's not going to be an apothecary, but maybe it's going to be something like the cheetah for awakened orbs, or divine beauty for divination cards for divine orbs, and it's going to stack up. You'll also be getting a lot of bubblegum currency that is going to stack up, and you're going to be getting a lot of random drops, as well as in T17s you're going to get the Uber fragments, which also will sell for a bit. So strongbox farming in T17s is going to be very profitable once you are getting in there. And to get there, we can look into Legion, we can look into Breach or Altar farming. It is what is going to be the most profit early on. One of these three you're gonna need to decide based on your build. Altar farming is not time constrained, so if you don't have the best clear, it's good. Legion, it needs a lot of clear, and Breach is like a middle ground, but we don't know how good it's gonna be. The last really good strategy to do at launch is Heist into Beast. There we go. Now it fits on the screen. Now, Heist into Beast means that you want to go into Heist before finishing the campaign. I think with not needing to unlock anything of the heist members, we want to do a little bit of heist dipping right as we unlock in Act 6, then finish campaign all the way to Act 10, get our third lab. Then we want to run a lot of heist contracts, just stacking up the rogue markers, and then we want to buy blueprints that we use these rogue markers for. Don't reveal anything on the blueprints, just run one wing blueprints, and then we get our loot out of them, and we keep running blueprints until we have stacked up enough currency that we can afford a couple of beast maps, like 30, 40 beast maps in one go, and then we're running Beast. Now, why do we want to run Beast? Well, Beast on your Atlas on the first couple days is going to be extremely lucrative if you find a Black Morrigan. So we need to run a Black Morrigan with an Atlas set up for it. We can expect roughly every 15 to 20 maps. Now, there could be a dry streak, you could get unlucky. So what I'm recommending is we stack up enough currency to run 40 maps in one go, then we rush through these 40 maps, we collect all the beasts that are valuable. They are now even more easily to sell as we don't need to buy bestiary orbs anymore, we can just control click them in our inventory. So we look for the good beasts, we then list them on the async trade, we sell them, and when we hit the Black Morrigan, we hit the lottery basically. A Black Morrigan on the first couple of days is 8 plus divines, and then or at least it was last league, and then we're gonna be using a bestiary scalp of duplication, which means we get 16 divines because we got 2 Morrigans. And with these 2 Morrigans, 60 divines, we then are just gonna snowball further. We can run even more maps, means we find more Morrigans, means we sell more Morrigans, or we use them to get 6 links, which we can sell, or we 6 link uniques and resell those. There's a lot of details to that, but the core of it is heist into beast. I think those are the 3 best strategies to follow for the first couple of days, until the market settles, until the meta settles, and we know what strats are good and what strats aren't good. Now, all this being said, I will be live streaming the reveal. I will be live streaming the league start, of course. I might be a little bit late to starting the stream, as I can only start the stream once my update is done. But you feel free to sit in this, wait on my channel, and when I go live, you will be notified, or the stream will start, and you can enjoy watching the stream on my end and discover with me what I will be discovering about Breach. Now, all this being said, have a lovely day, have a wonderful league start, many divine drops, and I'll be seeing you either on my stream or my next video. Goodbye.